Trading Nut, episode 127.
And the reason I say the 1 and 5 minute charts is because on every time frame, we're getting all these patterns that we see on all these time frames, but obviously the higher time frames, the patterns are taking longer to play out. So on the 1 and 5 minute chart, what happens is you get to just kind of subconsciously see what the market's doing over and over again. And this is why I think that I've gotten so great at recognizing these patterns, because the first year of my trading, I traded the 1 and 5 minutes.
The market's going to do something. Your job is not to fight it.
The market never, ever runs away. It's always there.
That personal diary of trading will make you a much better trader than...
I could be right about the direction, but wrong about the trade.
Don't focus on the monetary side.
Trying to make too much money on a trade is what I have seen killed every trader.
Your losses offer you some of the greatest insight you can find into your mistakes.
Relax, learn the process.
Candlestick pattern trading is a freaking trap.
Don't be in a rush to become a millionaire.
Let the market tell you what the market wants to tell you.
This podcast is not financial, trading, or investing advice of any kind. What's up, traders? Welcome to another installment of the Trading Nut podcast. I'm your host, Cam Hawkins, and today we've got Derek van der Linde back on the show after 4 years. I can't believe we've got him back on, actually. So he was part of my 52 Traders podcast. Episode 81, it took me ages to find the episode on the site because it is tied in with another series that we did with him as well. So there's plenty of old content, and it's great to see Derek still killing it in this industry. He's also jumped into crypto a bit, as well as trading currencies and all sorts of other things as well. So you guys are going to hear about that in today's interview, along with a special drop that he's going to let you know about, where you can pretty much find out exactly how he does what he does. And we did shoot a video as well, which you'll see up on the YouTube channel. So make sure you go and check that all out after listening to today's interview, as well as my Crypto Nut series. So this is a new series here, guys, and there's some fantastic content that is dropping for anyone that's like either just investing in or trading crypto. You've got to go and check this out, okay? So I've looked at the views. We're not getting tons of views on there, and you guys are missing out, right? So you've got to go and check this Crypto Nut series out. There's like a 40-minute masterclass from Richard Nasser, which is an awesome video where he shares pretty much everything he does. I'm also doing a masterclass this week, so if you're seeing this soon enough, or listening to this soon enough, you might be able to take part in it. It's a live masterclass with Andy Demi. So he's another past guest from my 52 Traders podcast who's come back on to share what he's doing in the crypto space. So guys, you've got to go and check these videos out, okay? Or come and join these live masterclass sessions. All right, what else have we got on? Now, we finished last week Trader versus Trader, so congratulations to Gerald Trades, who took out the trophy there. And what you're going to see if you watch the final is me having a crack at my own Forex simulator challenge that I've set for everyone else. So if you want to see how I went and how I got on, go and check that out over there on the YouTube channel, or there. It's in the live stream sections on Trading Nut. Now, if you do want to do your back testing a lot faster than doing it manually, then I do have my Robot Builders Club. Now, this is where I teach you how to build semi or fully automated trading strategy. So whatever your strategy is, or if you just dream up strategies, this is where I teach you how to do it in 7 days. I've got a community, I've got a course, it's a whole bunch of other stuff in there. You get 30 ready-made robots when you join. The likes of Nathan Sage, who's one of the sponsors of my show now, when he first started back in 2017 as well, when I interviewed Derek doing this, and he's now been able to build a 7-figure business off the back of this. So, guys, well worth checking out whilst you're on the site over there at tradingnut.com. For now, let's get on with this interview with Derek. Let's do it. Whether you're a struggling trader or a profitable trader, our sponsor, City Traders Imperium, are offering you the chance to become a fully backed Forex trader. That's right, get coached and funded with CTI today. All right, folks, here we are on Trading Up. We've got an old guest of mine from episode 101 of, that was the last time he was on, of 52 Traders. Welcome to the show, Derek van der Linde. How are things with you?
I appreciate it very much. Things are, going really great. I don't think that it could be any better than it is right now. Very happy. Trading's great. Life's great. Business is great. So
when I look at when we you first came on, I think it was it's almost been 4 years. 4 years ago. A long time. I can't even find the interview that we did for whatever reason on my site, but I think it was about 4 years ago. And,
yeah, it was a while.
Yeah, maybe it was. It was 4 years ago. Anyway, look, it's great to get you back on because I know we did learn a lot about you back then because you did my Trading Mentors Match-Off series. You helped another trader try and get them to a point of profitability. And now you're 4 years more advanced, and I know you've done a lot within those 4 years. So do you want to start off with probably giving the guys who don't know who you are a bit of background in terms of like your beginning in trading, how you got to the point where I suppose you came on the show, and then what happened from there?
Absolutely. So, I've been trading for about 6 years now. I want to say, I think I started in 2015. Got involved with IML, quit IML within a week. It just obviously was not great. At that time, I don't know about now, but ended up getting involved with another group and just kind of progressed from there. Like Cam was saying, I've been trading for 6 years. I became profitable within my first about, I'd say 13, 14 months is when I was consistently getting results, making money, and then I actually had a really big win, and it was all luck. To be honest with you, is my pattern that I still trade today, but it was during a news event. I didn't even know it was a news event. Market moves about 300-400 pips, and this was during Brexit. So, any type of news during Brexit would move the market like crazy. Well, it did. Ended up making about 40, 50 grand on that trade. It was 40 grand and right around that number. And slowly just built my account after that. Ended up buying a car I brought the account to like 104 grand. Bought a 2016 BMW, and this is back in 2017, and that was like 30 grand cash. Stupid move, shouldn't have done it. Totally messed with my head because, withdrawing 1/4 of pretty much all the money I had, it really messed with me. Ended up taking a really big loss after that, which, has shaped the way that I trade today. Just consistently grew, got to the point to where I was having some struggles in my life. I wasn't in the best place. And actually, my mom had passed away. Took 6 months off, came back, and now I'm just, trading the best that I've ever traded. Have more knowledge in trading than I think, just all I've been doing is trying to improve. So that's how my trading journey's been, and I'm happy with where I'm at. So,
and just to give the guys some context, I mean, what stuff have you been trading?
What pairs and stuff?
Yeah, what pairs and.
So honestly, at the beginning of my career, my trading career, I only traded GBP, JPY. Now I'll pretty much I have about 12 pairs on my screen that I'll trade. Anywhere from NZD, JPY to Bitcoin, US30. I'll trade all those. But that's pretty much, anything that I see. Because I'm trading. I used to trade, scalp. 1 and 5 minute. Now I'll trade basically any time frame that I see a potential move on. So, like I said, I trade about 10, 12 different pairs.
Hey, just jumping in here with a message from my sponsor, Sage Strategies. Do you want to trade gold and crypto like the institutions? Well, now you can, and it's free for 14 days with Sage Strategies, fully automated trading strategies. Check out their live track records for 25 unique strategies, plus they'll host everything for you, which is perfect for beginners and advanced traders or investors. Simply sign up for the 14-day free trial at sagestrategies.io and experience it for yourself. And so do you want to talk us through that big loss you had? So after buying that car, like how did how did you, so you sort of go, well, the only way you can have a big loss is if you risk way too much, right? So why did you risk?
Well, it wasn't even what I was risking. Okay. It totally was. I was definitely over leveraging, but it was, me just not cutting my trade. I kept moving my stop loss because, and I explained this in one of my videos on YouTube. I got to the point where it's like, okay, I was down $4,000 on the trade. I didn't want to lose that $4,000, even though I knew exactly what it was going to do. I knew it was going to keep rising against me. It gets up to $10,000. How are you going to close out a $10,000 trade? You don't want to, so you're like, you kind of just, and this, like I said, this back in 2017, I I let that thing run till 40 grand. I lost 40 grand. So, not a fun month, not a fun couple months actually, because that just messes with your psychology 100%. But I think I took a couple months off after that, and I was watching the charts and stuff, always watching the charts, but I didn't actually place trades during that time. When I came back, I was all good. My psychology was great, and grew the account again, did awesome, and just kind of went from there.
And so I mean that is so you've literally taken your account to 30 grand again, right? And so,
yeah.
So how do you grow it back from 30K? And I suppose at the same time live as well, because you've obviously having to live your life.
Yeah,
so
yeah. And actually, I was basically spending money that I was making on the side and trying to grow my account. And so I wasn't really withdrawing a ton like I would. Like if I needed to buy something big or something stupid, I would withdraw from my account. But I got to the point where I just grew that 30 grand to, it was like 120 something grand after that before I really had to take another big withdrawal. And from there, it's honestly, got in different businesses. So I have money coming in on the side. And then at that point, you don't have to worry as much about living off just solely trading. I don't recommend that for anyone to just live off trading. So
yeah, I've had a few guests on the show before who've they use trading as a way to sort of, trading's the first port of call to generate some cash to then leverage it somewhere else. And if you're not doing that, you're really putting all your eggs in one basket, which is not probably the best idea. Okay, so I know you've put together something amazing for all traders out there, which goes into a lot of detail around what you do with your trading. But before we go into that, and you can tell the guys what it is that you've done, do you want to give the guys sort of an overview of how your trading's pieced together now? I mean, how many trades how many trades are you taking a week, and some other stats around it?
Absolutely. So right now I'm taking about 2 or 3 trades a week, and there's plenty potential for more, but I'm making good money on the side. My trading account's at a big enough number. It's in the 6 figures where I can, really leverage that to make, 20, 30K a month pretty easily by taking these 2-3 trades a week. So that's really how I'm going about my trading. I think when people are trade too much, trying to do too much in the market, that this is what's holding them back, really. And you see it with people, especially that are not profitable. You see them trying to enter every stinking trade. And for me and the way that I trade, it has to make sense. It has to make 100% sense before I enter a trade, meaning with my patterns that I trade 3 patterns, and it has to have confluence within those 3 patterns. The patterns work really well just without even confluence, but when you add that confluence in the trades, I'm like 1 for 14 this month, so it works really well.
So just I'm thinking about your big loss there, and starting from 30K and growing that account to 6 figures. I mean, what did you, and trying to avoid those over trading? You're doing 2 to 3 trades a week now. What were you doing back then to get it to this level? Because it's sort of, when people look at it at first light, they go, hang on a sec, surely you must have, to get that kind of growth, you've got to do something crazy. Was there any craziness there, or was it a planned approach?
It was just consistency, having a plan with my trading routine. And then obviously, here was the default with my trading strategy when I was, I was doing really well. I was winning. I think I won 96 trades in a row at one point. This was all documented and everything. And the thing within the strategy was that the take profit wasn't as big as the stop loss. So if I took the loss, it would cut out about 6-7 trades, So that was the biggest issue within the trade, within how I traded. And when you do something like that and you win all these trades, and all of a sudden you get like 10% of your trades wiped out in one trade, it makes you rethink, what am I doing here? So that's when I really just stinking buckled down and figured out how I could make my strategy that I was trading the same exact patterns, but how I could tell if I should hold my trades longer and have a better stop loss and a risk-reward ratio. It always has to be 1 to 2 if I'm going to take a trade.
Yeah,
and that's the key.
Because I do remember back in the day, you guys were like doing a sort of, it was quite a large stop with a small take profit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And okay, right. So that was the. So you've managed to overcome that and get at least a 1 to 2, maybe even more than that in some cases.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's times where I get 1 to. I obviously want a better risk reward ratio. And there's some times where I'll get 1 to 6, 1 to 7. But the thing with the way that I trade is just really accurate. It's I mean, a lot of people will tell you, it's like extremely accurate. You can look back in time and just be like, holy cow, this has worked forever. So it excites me, it makes me happy, and it makes me really happy that I adapted to the point where I can implement the technical analysis within my strategy.
And what have I just want you to what have you put together for the people out there that so they can actually learn exactly what you do?
Absolutely. So I actually put my full course on. It took me like 3 or 4 months to get this done. A long time, but I put my full course on YouTube. And the reason is, it's like, I don't like charging for this. And I'm just going to give you guys the honest truth, is because I hate seeing people fail in trading. And the fact is that most people will fail. And this is because they just can't follow a plan. And this is another thing that I like to talk about. Like, it's called the Pareto principle. You could have 80% of what you're doing right, but the 20% that you're doing is going to be holding you back, or what you're doing wrong is going to be holding you back. So, for example, let's say like you're doing everything right, but maybe you're not managing your trades right. That's, maybe 5% of the reason why you're failing, or not doing as well as you can. Like, you could know my strategy, but over leverage like crazy, and then the strategy doesn't work because you're over leveraging. So what you have to do within that 20% that you're not doing right, you have to acknowledge, be self-aware, acknowledge what you're doing wrong, and slowly try to fix the things that you're doing wrong. And then once you start doing that, you're going to notice yourself get better and better. But like I said, I could talk to most people until they're blue in the face and tell them exactly what they'll need to do, but still they won't do it. And so this is why I don't charge. That's why I put my course out on YouTube for free, because I don't want to see people fail. I don't want to see people spend $1,000 and then, it doesn't serve them anything. And there's nothing wrong with the people that do it. I just don't feel right about doing it for myself. It doesn't feel good to me. So I put it on YouTube. You can search my name, Derek Vandelinder, and you'll find it. There's 25 videos on there. Really nicely done. So
yeah, guys,
it's exciting.
I'll put a link underneath this video if you're watching the video, or just in the podcast description. Just go to Derek, find Derek on the site. He'll be there a few times actually, but it'll be the most recent one under Trading Nut, and we'll make sure you get a link to that. So do go and subscribe to it. I've just checked it out. It's 25 videos. It's well done, very well done. So now, what about like this day and age? You're taking 3 to 4 trades or 2 to 3 trades a week. What's your typical trading day look like now?
So here's how it goes, and this is what I do when I'm trading. I'm premeditating where I want the market to go, where I know it will go, and once it gets to that point is where I'm looking to see if one of my patterns occurs. And if it occurs at that point, that's when I'll take my trade. I'll take my trade to just the nearest structure, and that's my take profit always. Now, there's multiple times where it's just going to keep going, and I could have made way more money, but that's also a problem that people have. You just got to be grateful for what you do make, because it could always reverse off you, So just go to the most previous structure. I'm waiting for the trade to come to me, which is what a lot of people don't do, and that's how I'm succeeding.
Do you like set alerts or anything like that, just to I suppose, limit your time at the charts, or are you like sitting there for 3 hours a day to do this analysis?
So what I'll do is I'll wake up. It's either, depends on what's going on in my life. Like the last 6 months before this last month, I was trading from 10 at night till 3 in the morning. And, as a trader, you're constantly checking the charts on your phone or whatever you're doing. So right now what I'm doing is I'm waking up about 5:30. I already kind of have a feel for what's going to be going on in the market. And there's plenty of times where I'm missing trades, which is, it sucks, but at the same time, like I said, less is almost more in this industry. So if I see a trade come up, then, well, the funny thing is actually I'm having an alert. Actually, one of my students, he actually made alerts for my 3 patterns. Now, the thing is that I want to make these alerts a little bit better. I can give these alerts out right now, and they work really, really well. But there's patterns for especially new people that this is what I really want to make these alerts for. So I don't personally use alerts. I'll just, wait for the market to do what it's going to do. And let's say that I see the market coming down to my area. It's like 7 a.m. and maybe it's moving pretty slow. I'll be constantly checking my chart on my phone or whatever is in front of me to wait for it to get down to that point, because I know it's going to get down to that point eventually, and waiting for it to get down there. So I might, be looking at the charts from 10 till or from 6 in the morning till about 10, but I'll be constantly checking my chart, and if the trade happens to hit my spot, maybe 6 p.m., that's when I'm going to enter my trade, and then I'll manage it from there. And there's really not a whole lot of managing that I have to do besides when it hits like a previous point where the market could reverse. That's when I'll place my stop loss in profit, protect my trade, and then let it roll. So very simple stuff, but at the same time, it could be improved by alerts. Absolutely.
And are you what time frames are you looking at mainly when you're going on your phone and checking and making sure that this level hasn't been hit?
So I actually do a top-down analysis. I start from the monthly chart, and so this is how I'll do it. Like if I'm on the monthly chart and I see that it's clearly bullish, clearly bearish, then that's how I'm gonna judge my trade that I'm looking for. So if it's bullish, I'm gonna be looking for buys, right? In my key areas of confluence and where I see the market coming to. If it's bearish, same thing, obviously, same thing. I'm going to be looking for sells. So I'll do a top-down analysis. If I don't get the reading from the monthly, I'll go down to the weekly. Same thing, if it's looking bullish, I'll be looking for buys. Then I'll go down to the daily, 4 hour, 1 hour. And I look at a whole bunch of different time frames, because sometimes like the 8 hour time frame will give you a better idea of what's going on than the 4 hour. So that's really what I do when I am looking for trades. I'm looking for, momentum in the market, and that's the side of the trade I want to be on.
And what time frames for entering your trade?
It's really whatever the time frame the pattern comes on. My favorite time frames to enter are from like the 1 hour, 4 hour, 30 minute. Those are my favorite. But I'm not going to be mad if there's a 15-minute time frame trade. The quicker I can get out and go on with my day and not have to look at charts, I'm happy.
Now, I want to know, I've asked you this question probably before, and I'm going to change it slightly. So this is about what do you think made you different, but when you first started out to get to the point where you are now, what I want to ask is like, what do you think other people should be aware of when they're like embarking on a trading career? And I know you've seen a lot of people sort of come and go, and you can sort of see when people are doing the wrong things. What is it they need to be doing different to get in the right headspace?
So this is what, kind of goes along with the Pareto principle. And this is what really actually made me like become really, really good. Like I said, I'm very confident in my trading. And the reason is because I'm very honest with myself. and this is what people aren't. Here's what they'll do is they'll put in, $1,000, and I'm speaking just to the most generic type of retail trader. They'll put in $500, $1,000, and they'll, probably over leverage it, or maybe under leverage where, they're only using 0.01, and it just becomes unexciting at that point. But the biggest thing is, I personally think, is just becoming self-aware of your own issues. Like, if you're putting in $1,000 every 2 weeks, like, there's something wrong with what you're doing. It's obviously not working. I have a lot of people that are on the cusp of being profitable, and what's holding them back right now is them just getting that, like, they'll kill it, and then all of a sudden they'll get in, like, one trade because they feel like they need to be in that trade. And I think that's a huge thing and a huge reason to why I'm profitable, because if it comes down to my area and it has my pattern, I'm going to take the trade, but I'm not going to take the trade in the middle of a move. And I think most people that aren't successful within trading are taking moves like who knows where. I see a lot of people, and this is that really just bugs me, is a lot of people will take, like, let's say we're having a reversal and it's a continuation. They're trying to do a continuation of that reversal, but on a certain time frame that will be on, like, the 50 moving average, and it will be hidden divergent, but they'll take a buy right there when that 50 moving average is using or acting as a dynamic resistance, and they'll take a buy right, trying to get the market to continue right there. And that just bugs me so much. Like, you should never take, I personally don't think you should ever take a buy or sell on a moving average unless you're, like, countering off the moving average. Because most of the time, especially if it's a swing to a moving average, it's going to, give you a reversal or at least some sort of move off that moving average. At least for the moving averages I use. I use the 50, 200, and 800 moving average.
Yeah. It's very, very right there, I think, in terms of, there's moving average traders, right? And so you use moving averages, and I'm sure a hell of a lot of other people use moving averages. It's like the most common indicator. So there's bound to be people who are trading off this as a dynamic support and resistance. So therefore, to your point, expect something to happen it's not going to just fire through it every single time. If you probably even went back and had a look at it, it's probably going to bounce off it more often than not. And that's your probabilities there.
Exactly, and especially if there's if it's been away, because you got to think of, like, a moving average. If it's in a swing, and if it's been far away from the 50 for a while, or the 200 for a while, you got to think of that moving average as almost a magnet. And when it comes back to the moving average, especially after that big swing, a lot of the times that's when it's going to reject off the moving average. Yeah. And now, okay, that's great. So what about, like, what things you talked about? Hidden divergence. You talked about moving averages. Are there any other things that you use? I mean, I know the guys will go and check out your YouTube afterwards, but what other things do you use that make up your strategy? So I use, like I said, I use technical analysis, but what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for either, like, trend line touches, or I love trading, like, trend line retest. After it breaks the trend line, comes back, retest it. A lot of the times that will be a very great move. For example, like Bitcoin. Right now, like, on the weekly time frame, we're on, like, the 61.8 Fibonacci. I use Fibonacci too, just for, like, an added confluence. We're on, like, the 61.8. It's a trend line retest. Right at the 58 is and the 58,000 level, which has a ton of support right there, or a ton of resistance right there. So when I saw that, I took the short from 58 to I think it's 54, and so that's why, like, I love trend line retests after it breaks the trend line, because, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like I said, I like having common sense when I'm trading, and to me that's common sense because it works out a lot. You're gonna, and especially with the patterns that I use, if I use that trend line retest, that already is a pattern that works out quite a bit. But if I'm adding my patterns as well, that's just going to up the percentage that trade's going to work out. So
awesome. So it's interesting. Like, one of the things that springs to mind here is the fact that you've got so many things on the play here, right? On the go, and I know a lot of guys out there might oversimplify what they're doing. Is there have you got a view on like somebody taking the simple approach versus the complex, like I'm using literally everything here approach?
Yeah, and I don't even, I don't see it as that way, but I see where you're coming from with that. Like, you could just, and here's my thing is, with trading, and if you look at the people that are doing well, they're honestly the people that aren't, they're not asking a ton of questions. This is just what I've noticed. They're kind of the people that take control, and either they kind of see what you're saying and then they work with what you're saying and fix and figure it out for themselves. Those are the type of people that I see do really well. But to like simplify what I do, I mean, you could just add structure to the 3 patterns and it works out. You know, just make sure you're keeping your risk reward and your risk management very well, and then I personally think that you could win. You could win. You know, with a 1 to 2 risk reward, you could win only 4 trades out of 10 and still be profitable. You know, so.
Now, what about this, right? So I'm going to get slightly, my question here as well. So, like somebody who's fresh into trading, let's say you had 3 months with them. Actually, this reminds me of Trading Mentors Match Off, the series we did. It was originally going to be 3 months. I think we ended up being 9. You had 3 months with them. What would you say? Here's your plan of attack for the 3 months. And if you follow these steps, and maybe you're catching up with them once every month, at the end of it, I have a higher chance that you'll be growing an account rather than sort of destroying an account.
Yes. So here's, like, if you're new, this is the route that I would take if I was new, didn't know anything, but know what I know now. I would start off with the 1 and 5 minute charts, and I would be looking for the patterns that I'm teaching. And I would practice on demo. And the reason I say the 1 and 5 minute charts is because on every time frame, we're getting all these patterns that we see on all these time frames, but obviously the higher time frames, the patterns are taking longer to play out. So on the 1 and 5 minute chart, what happens is you get to just kind of subconsciously see what the market's doing over and over again. And this is why I think that I personally think that I've gotten so great at recognizing these patterns, because the first year of my trading, I traded the 1 and 5 minute. And so I saw these patterns just happen over and over and over again. And I think subconsciously it's just now in my brain. It's there. So that's what I would recommend. But that 1 and 5 minute chart with structure. So you could do, let's say we break a previous structure. If we look in left, we break the structure, it's dropping, and then we get a swing back to the 50 moving average. Now, a lot of times what will happen is that structure will swing, will come down, and the 50 moving average will be right there, and it will hit that 50 moving average. It will be hidden divergent, and it will also turn that support into a resistance now. That's a really solid trade, and usually what we'll have with that is like a Fibonacci retracement on that level as well. So you could just do that, like a break of the new low, a swing back to the 50 moving average, that's hidden divergence, and that's a solid trade setup right there. You'll see that happen a ton in the market.
And so you're basically saying, right, new trader, here's what you're going to look for, and you're going to do it on 1 or 5 minute charts, and you're just going to practice that for 3 months. Bang. And I think that's great advice, because you're going to get so much more opportunity than going in on a 4 hour and going, well, it's been 3 weeks and it's still not hit the 50 moving average. What do I have to do? What do I have to do? And what about how many markets would you get them to focus on in that scenario?
I would keep it small. I'd probably go with 2 volatile pairs and like a slower pair. So let's go with like GBP, JPY, maybe gold, because gold's a pretty predictable market to trade for me, because the last move of gold always is a big move. It's always a big, like, one of my trades called a shark fin, and you'll see that last finishing move be a giant candle, and then it'll start to reverse. So like maybe GBP, JPY, a pair like gold or US 30, and then like a slower pair like Euro USD or, NZD, JPY, something like that.
Awesome.
Just so you have all the different factors within, the market,
Yeah, and I suppose you could, if you took the other approach of like doing a 4 hour or an hour sort of strategy and doing more markets, you could probably get the same things. But I suppose at that point, what are you missing? Is it the consistency or the sort of repetition or just confusion?
I think so. Like you're saying, if you started off doing like the 1 and 4 hour.
Well, yeah. So say instead of doing 5 and 1 minute, you did like 1 and 4 hour, but you did more pairs to try and get more opportunity. Do you think there's a detrimental effect of that in terms of it's just too much going on and too confusing for people, whereas like 3 or 4 is more condensed?
I think that personally, I just think if you're going to start off trading, I think that you want to get those patterns just like subconsciously put in your brain. And so when you're seeing these things happen on the 1 and 5 minute over and over again, and you can look, the same patterns happen on the 1 and 5 minute as they do on the 1 and 4 hour. But obviously, if you're watching the 1 and 4 hour, and especially if you're a new trader, it's not very exciting. Sometimes the market can just be sideways forever and you don't get a move ever. I think GJ this week had like sideways movement for 43 hours, so I think I personally just believe that the more you see the patterns happen over and over again, they're just going to get ingrained in your memory.
Now, another random question, you started off. We had a meeting 4 years ago. We had an interview then. You're still trading. Why did you not give up?
Well, there was no reason to give up on trading. I was making really good money. I've obviously had better years than others, and I think the reason why I never gave up, I actually did. I took 6 months off. Not that I didn't look at the charts every day. I took 6 months off when my mom passed. I just wasn't mentally there. I wasn't in and luckily with trading, it gave me a nice savings to sit on for that 6 months. And so I wasn't in the place to be trading and risking my money, and so I took that 6 months off, which actually was a blessing for me that I could do that, because when I came back, it was like it was great. It's been very great. The thing is I've been, before I started trading, I've been, to the point where I was working, building scaffold, doing very manual, hard labor. And what's kept me going and want to just do this forever is the fact that, there's nothing like being able to sit at your computer whenever you want and make money. There's just nothing like it. It's given me so much freedom. Me and my wife and our kids, we're doing, a trip once a month probably. So it's just one of those things where the freedom that comes along with trading after you understand it is incredible.
Yeah, awesome. Now, so you obviously, you took 6 months off and give yourself a break and probably at the right time as well. What sort of, do you have any techniques or I suppose key things that people can sort of use, tangible things they can sort of notice or use or do to try and help with their mindset so that they can realize at times that they might need to give it a break? Because I think that's probably one of the hardest things people struggle with is like, well, when's the right time to give it a break? Like, with the death of your mum, it's obviously very, very pertinent time, but others may not have that sort of like clear sort of signal. This is not a good time to be trading. What do you recommend?
Absolutely. So what I recommend, this is what I'll give advice to my friends that are trading, everyone that comes in contact with me. If you have emotions when you're trading, like severe emotions, like you get in a trade and you're nervous, you're not ready. You're just not. You should have no emotion to the money. You should already know exactly what you're going to lose if you lose. You should already know what you're going to make. You should know how you're going to manage your trade. You should, like, for me, example, let's say I get into a trade and it's a trend line trade. I already know that if it breaks that trend line, where the next point is, where it's going to be an area where it should bounce off that point. So I'm always aware of what's going to happen if it doesn't do what I think it's going to do off my certain area. But the thing is that I don't think a lot of people actually understand what's going on in the overall picture compared to what they're thinking right there in the moment when they're taking that trade. A lot of my friends, they still get, super nervous when they're in the trades, and to me that just tells me that they're not ready, or like, I have absolutely no emotion when it comes to my trading anymore, unless I get into like a couple, like 3 or 4 trade losing streak. Well, then that will start to mess with your head, and you're like, dude, what the heck's going on? It's been a while since that's happened, but when it does, you got to just take a step away from the charts. And how I always get back from a point like that is by backtesting my strategy, and also understanding these trades that I'm losing, they'll be like breakouts on the higher time frames where I'm trying to counter that trade. So like I said in the beginning of this, I'm looking for, now if it breaks a high or breaks a low and makes a new high or new low, I'm not going to ever counter that trade. I'm only going to be looking to go with that momentum. But I mean, it's just one of those things that you got to get rid of those emotions first of all. It's always good to be making money on the side. You should never, I don't think when you're starting out, you definitely should not be relying on trading as an income. Your mindset's really got to be, like, you got to know what you're doing. You got to know why you're doing what you're doing, why you're entering trades. And if you don't, I don't think you're ready, personally.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, actually. Like, and you've got to think hard about it, though, right? I don't think you can. So people will listen to that. I know people will listen to this, and this would have been me a few years ago. I would listen to that and gone, yeah, got you, Derek, and then just completely ignored that when they came to the charts, right?
That's exactly what it is, and it drives me insane. It's like, I'll tell somebody that, and they will not listen. Like, people preach like, oh, you don't need a plan when you're trading. You absolutely need a plan when you're trading. Every successful trader, I don't follow really any of the traders on Instagram. I follow more like the guys that are, made it from nothing to now running these like huge hedge funds and stuff. I listen to their advice a lot because obviously they're doing it. They're killing it, and they have some really good advice on emotions. They've been through it all. I mean, they've been through 20 years of the market. They know a lot more than I do. So those are the types of people I'm, paying attention to. There's people that kill it on Instagram too. But there's also, you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt and watch who you follow. Really, I have studied a lot of human psychology. And you got to watch like the way that they're posting their things. If they're constantly putting money, like if you see deposits and then they're showing you their profits, like why are people depositing into an account? It doesn't make sense to me. It's like, if you're like, for me, my goal is to grow my account, not like just continue to, and what that tells me is that they blew an account and then added, deposited more money. So I think a lot of people don't understand like human psychology when it comes to that. Like if people are, saying that they're killing it and then they're starting all these new fresh accounts, then you got to look at, the facts that like, why are you depositing more money? And to me, that's telling me that you're blowing your account. So.
Yeah. Well, look, I know for me, it was like just sort of thinking back and going, okay, well, there's been times I've got to the charts and I've been like going, hang on a sec. Now I look back at it now, like months and months on, and go, I was actually not confident. I was, I'm going there, I'm going to entering this trade, or I'm setting this order, and I'm like, my confidence is at like 30%, and that I can now see is not good, and was not good at the time, and in fact is a sign to say, don't do it. That's that, and like even now I can, because I'll be placing quite a few orders a day. There are times when I'm sort of now going, okay, well that was this one here, not that confident about. Sometimes I'll place the order and then look back later and go, why did I lose that trade? Okay, that was the one I wasn't confident about. Funnily enough, it lost. So yeah, okay, that's great advice, guys. This is going to be the last question before we jump into the quickfire round, which should be interesting. We've done it before, but we'll do it again. If you had to recommend somebody spend the next month mastering one thing, what would it be?
Mastering one thing within trading?
Yeah.
Confluence. Confluence equals confidence within trading. When you have that confluence within it, for me, like I said, I have to have at least like three confluences within my trade to take the trade. So to me, they're obvious, like when I get that, and that just gives me more confidence. Like if you're kind of, it broke this level, I'm going to enter. I mean, it can always come back. Like for me, I have to have reasons to why I'm entering the trade. So that's my biggest thing. Have a reason to why you enter.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Right, let's get into this quickfire round. So how long did it take you to go from newbie to consistently profitable?
It was probably 13, 14 months, I'd say.
How do you exit or manage your trades these days?
So when I exit my trade, it's hitting the next area of structure, or the most previous area of structure usually that's how I'll do it. When I'm managing it, if there's like a maybe, like if I look left and you see an area of structure that might be pertinent to where the trade could reverse, then that's when I'll place my stop loss in profit. So I'm protecting myself.
Do you have a recommended trading book or resource?
There's so many good ones. I like, honestly, my psychology course, that's who I'd recommend to other traders, because I took a lot of things from these like guys that I said, that run the hedge funds, and I put it within that, and it just all stuff that resonated with me and helped me improve my trading.
Is that part of the YouTube
yep.
thing, or the free YouTube stuff, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The 25th video.
Oh, awesome. I'm going to watch that after this. Now, what's your preferred broker and trading platform?
My preferred broker is Forex. I'm one of the top affiliates with them. So that's why I recommend them. I've made six-figure withdrawals with them, so I trust them very much. So it's called Forex.
Hey, you ever wonder what broker I use? Well, I use Henko Trade. It was a no-brainer because I was looking for a broker with good trading conditions and no restrictions on trading my strategies. But one of the main reasons was their raw ECN spread, which could challenge any other broker you're trading with. Learn more at hankotrade.com or click the link in the description. Do you want to walk us through your worst ever trade? Oh, actually, you already did that.
Yeah, I did, yes. And it was during Brexit, GBP, JPY, just coming out of a breakout, and on the lower time frames, it gave me an overbought signal. I called a shark fin. You'll learn that if you watch the course. I was like the 5 minute I took the trade, but if you look at the higher time frames, this thing was just ready to launch off, and it did. It was about an hour. I think it moved up about 250 to 300 pips. And I was, I think, about 10 to 15 lots deep, and that thing just destroyed me.
Oh, dear.
And I was just sitting there watching it just climb. Oh, you should close out, dude. You should close out. You know where this is headed. And just finally at the end.
There's nothing worse when you see the high time frame too late and you go, oh, now I'm pretty much screwed. I know this is not going to work out. I know it's not going to work out. Right, if you could leave our listeners with one piece of advice, what would it be?
Just do the right thing. Where the energy goes, the energy flows. And this is like my biggest thing right here is be self-aware of your own faults, because we all have them. And once you become self-aware of your own faults and learn that you have these faults, then you can accept yourself for who you are and you can try to improve on those faults. So that's my biggest piece of advice for everyone out there.
Now, before we wrap up, what's the best way for the guys to get hold of you?
You can get a hold of me on my Instagram. I'm constantly getting blown up, but I will definitely get back to you eventually. If it's permanent, or like, and there's sometimes like message me twice, I don't care. Message me 3 times, and if you I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. I'm running around with 2 kids, a wife, trying to manage a bunch of different things. So, my Instagram, Derek_Vandy. You'll find me there, and you can just DM me, and I'll get back to you as best as I can. Or you can email me, vandalinder.d@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, look, great to have you back on the show here after such a long time. Look, guys, if you want to find out more, you can just search for Derek in the search box on tradingnut.com. And look, he's going to pop up a few times, so you want to make sure it's the latest one that's the most recent number. It'll be over 120, put it that way, which definitely means it's not 52 traders. Right, guys, until next time, I wish all my listeners trading happiness and success. All right, guys, so there we go. Interview with Derek van der Linde, done and dusted. Now, do remember, we shot a video after this as well. If you do want to see how he trades in condensed version, then jump over there onto the YouTube channel and check that out, or over there on Trading Nut, find Derek's interview, and you'll be able to check that out as well as all his other content as well. So he did maybe 4 or 5 different things over there on Trading Nut. Now, we've got the crypto content as well. You've got to go and check that out. We've got the masterclass happening this week with Andy Demi. If you get on that, great. If not, hit me up. We'll see what we can do. And we've got the Trader versus Trader final. If you want to see Gerald take out the trophy and me have a go at the Forex Simulator Challenge, then that's over there on Trading Nut as well, under the live stream section. And last but not least, Robot Builders Club. I'm still taking on members, but the doors are going to be closing soon. So if you do want to do what the likes of Nathan Sage has been able to do, then please head over there, Trading Nut, take the free training, and I'll see you on the inside. All right, guys, until next week, have a great time in the markets.